Oral arguments in the landmark antitrust trial against Google are over. The Justice Department is seeking to prove that the tech giant abused its power and broke laws to favor its bottom line. The evidentiary phase of the trial wrapped up yesterday. Nico Grant joins us now with more on this. He's a technology reporter covering Google for the New York Times. Thanks for joining us, Nico. So where do things stand in the case right now?
So right now, all of the oral arguments have been concluded. Over the last 10 weeks, both the Justice Department and Google, as well as lawyers representing dozens of state attorneys general, have presented more than 50 witnesses to debate the central question of whether Google broke the law by signing these default contracts to place its search engine on internet browsers, on iPhones, in Safari, on desktop computers, in the Mozilla Firefox browser, and whether this shut out competition and prevented other companies from having a meaningful chance of building search businesses as well as advertising businesses online. And so right now, it will be next year when we find out what happens in this case. Both sides will have to present written arguments and responses to those written arguments in February, then March. And in May, they will come back to court and give their closing arguments.
Yeah, and Google, spent millions and millions and millions of dollars to sort of get a lock on this digital real estate, for lack of a better term. And their counter argument is, well, we're the best game in town. Google's great. And that's why we're sort of the top search engine, or the search engine of choice. But the U.S. government called up its final witness yesterday. It was an MIT economics professor. What points did he make?
Professor Michael Winston of MIT reiterated central Justice Department claims that Google paying partners, which, by the way, the total that it paid partners in 2021 was $26.3 billion.
Wow.
The Times has reported that around $18 billion of that went to Apple alone because of the popularity of the iPhone, that these payments amounted to essentially an anti-competitive force in this market, and that there was no way to, outweigh those anti-competitive forces, even though there's some competition for these types of deals. For instance, Microsoft has a search engine, Bing. Microsoft has offered Apple billions of dollars in order to replace Google on the iPhone, and Apple has repeatedly turned down those requests. Professor Winston says that this illustrates that other companies can't get a toehold into this market.
So you've been following this trial. Besides what we've just spoken about, what are some of the highlights that stick out to you?
Definitely some of the disclosures in terms of how much money is trading hands. That was something that, these were significant corporate secrets that all of the companies involved had argued should remain private information. And those were very significant disclosures. And I think that there were also just embarrassing moments for Google and Google executives, including, times when they had to answer questions about why they were not speaking on the record internally in company chats. They turned the history off, meaning that some of their communications were deleted after 24 hours. The testimony of Sundar Pichai really having to meet this moment when many of his peers are probably going to face this same opportunity or chance of defending his company and trying to explain why it's a good corporate citizen, when there is a feeling amongst governments and many critics as well as competitors that it plays too big a role in our daily lives and really needs to be winnowed. And so next year, the Justice Department, if it wins, will have the opportunity to argue what should happen next. And there could be a range of options on the table. The Justice Department has not officially said, but one chance, for example, could be to do away with these deals entirely so that Google cannot participate in them. And it's also possible that the Justice Department could ask that a piece of Google has to be spun off or sold, and argue that the company needs to be broken up in some way.
That would be major.
It would be very major, and it would also be appealed by Google quite quickly. And
Right.
so this fight could last years.
Right. So I mentioned sort of part of Google's argument is that, hey, we're good. That's why we're the search engine of choice. But another part of their argument is this is just regular. This is just business. This is legal revenue sharing deals. Nothing wrong with that. Doesn't have an impact on competition. Can you talk a little bit more about the defensive strategy? And I thought to myself whether it's sincere too, because part of the way you become really good at this, whether it's a search engine or anything else, is through the collection of data. So if you have a lock on massive amounts of data, it's almost impossible for a competitor to ever catch up. But sorry, go ahead.
Yes, Google is obviously the world's most popular search engine. It's used by more than 90% of search engine users in the world. We all use it. And it is, at first glance, significantly better than its competitors. And Google has argued that that is because it has invested billions of dollars in pursuing innovations, that it brought competition to stagnant markets when it showed up 25 years ago. This is not a very old company. And the Justice Department has said the exact point that you've just made, that because Google early on was able to gain some popularity among users, that has given it an insurmountable lead. And at this point, there need to be legal remedies and government intervention in order to ensure that there is a more balanced market for how we find information online and for how advertisers reach consumers. But Google wanted to present Microsoft, which could be a key beneficiary if it loses this case, as a stagnant player that, had an opportunity to do very well in the tech industry. And for instance, its Internet Explorer browser, it would only update once a year or once every couple years. That Bing, it did not invest as much money as Google did in making sure that Bing was a great product people wanted to use. And, it ultimately is a Rorschach test, how you interpret this. And Judge Mehta in DC said at this point, he does not know how he's going to rule.
Should be interesting. Nico Grant, thank you very much.
Thank you.